What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Flippin Tables, man. We are in the building tonight. I'm so glad and so happy to be here with you guys tonight, man. I'm so excited. I just can't hide it because it's about to go down again. We have another great topic tonight. The topic tonight is, as you can see, is trust Black women. Is self-emasculation or strategic recalibration? I've been hearing a lot of people talk about in a roundtable discussion amongst very soft and very unheterosexual men on this platform that we're about to go through tonight. And we're going to chop this thing up like steak at a 5-star restaurant tonight because it needs to be. I've heard other platforms today, and shout out to those other platforms. I won't call them by name, but I've heard other platforms today talk down on some of the things that they saw. I've heard other platforms give their synopsis on what this should look like. But tonight, we're going to give it to you because a lot of people have been going through clips today. We're about to break this whole thing down today. Yep, because I think it's necessary. And I want to bring up my guys tonight that's going to help me do that. My brother from an absolute another mother is in the building tonight, ladies and gentlemen. My co-host, because we're going to jump right into this thing tonight, pause, because it's necessary and we got to get this out the way so we can have this discussion. Now, we're going to watch this together, but we're also going to pause every now and then to have the discussion, especially when some of these bullet points. Now, we may not watch the whole thing because a lot of it was not relevant, but we definitely got to watch it for sure. All right. So, my brother from another mother, ladies and gentlemen, put your damn hands together for the one and the only, incomparable, Lost in Translation.
Come on inside and get yourself something cool to drink.
What's going on, my brother? How are you today, man?
How goes it, man? How goes it?
Man, ready to get in here and cook.
Yeah, man. It's about that time. It's been a while, man. It's been a while.
Now, I do want to say, I'm going to drop the link in a second. If you do want to come up and have this discussion, you are able to do so. I would love for you to come up. That'd be absolutely wonderful. No problem at all. We just ask that you have your camera on because we need to see your face in the place for you to plead your case. And so we need you to have your camera on if you come up here. All right. So I want to jump into this real quick, pause. And so we can take a look at this blasphemy. All right. You ready? Have you seen it? Any of this Lost in Translation?
I haven't seen any of it. So
oh my God. Thank God. You can get a raw of all of these men who are straight. But I'm gonna go ahead and start playing it now, and we'll pause it. And Lost, if you want me to pause on something, let me know. This is a discussion about trusting Black women. What's wrong with Black men? Why we're not trusting Black women? Here we go.
Engage with it, but everybody here comes from a different perspective, a different life, different experiences, and we want to bring that to this conversation. So I know that there's no way to get there without the empowerment of Black women and centering Black women in that power talk, in that power struggle, in that power strategy, in that movement, in our behavior. And what in y'all's eyes does that mean to you? Like from y'all's experience, what's your connection to or experience with reproductive justice, and what does that actually mean to you? Anybody should kick in.
As a father, you fall deeply in love with parenting, right? And what that means and understanding the responsibility that it takes. But you also learn as a father, the mother ends up doing so much more than what you can offer sometimes. And it's just facts. You don't have breasts to feed this baby. You don't have the kind of just natural intellect to kind of carry things. That's why a lot of fathers just say, here you go, I don't know what to do, right? So I think for one, it's just accepting that, understanding that you are there to help produce and provide, but then there's going to be so much more that you can't, provide. And so just trying to be a support system around whatever your spouse or your girlfriend at the time is choosing to do with their body is something that I've learned over the years. Personal experiences from having to make that decision to have an abortion, with your girlfriend at a young age, to end up feeling like that you didn't have a say so in it, right? And then understanding as a man where you don't. Once you decide to go into that position and you put your seed into this woman, now that's her decision where to go. You can't say, well, I don't want no baby, or you can't have it. No. You should have thought about that before you go. You know, so teaching my son that, right, and understanding that you have a decision very early on in the process, but later on you don't. And if you decide to go through with it, then you need to be ready to support and provide and do the things that you need to do. So that's kind of been my learning curve over the situation. And then just feeling horrible for, as we was talking off camera, about all the women who've lost their lives in this situation and not being able to have the medicine that they need. And not only around, you know, reproduction and having babies, but even down to like fibroids, right? My wife struggles with that, and Black women not having the information that they need to figure out how to get rid of the fibroids and all those type of things. So whatever we can do to just kind of lean in and learn and listen, that's what I've been like. Same thing. If somebody would have asked me a couple of years ago, I said, oh, I guess my perspective may have been different, but now we're in a time where you really just want to have a different understanding. I teach my son that, you know, and then also my daughter, you know, what decisions she has to make before she lays down with somebody and how it can change your life, right?
So it's incumbent upon you to have that information if your desire is to be a father, is to understand the woman's point of view and the things that they go through. We think of a lot of things that we go through, our upbringing, not having a father or having a father, all our experiences, and the dream of being a father, you know, and having a son or a daughter, and what kind of father you want to be. All of that comes to mind, but before inception, those thoughts never came to me in the sense of what she would go through. You know, how would I handle being in a waiting room and being told something and not knowing information? Who do I lean on? All those things that come to mind that happen when you're in the delivery room or the process of having a baby or having a healthy delivery and all that stuff. And then, you know, I think it's absolutely important for us to have these types of conversations and have these thoughts leading up into the idea and actualizing fatherhood. You know, I think we've centered ourselves, you know, the patriarchy of it all, we center ourselves, you know, we're the ones that make it happen.
I always say something. I was raised by women.
Right.
And I ran into some brothers a couple of years ago, last year, when we were running for election, who felt like Kamala couldn't lead.
Great.
I said, but your mother ran the house.
Right.
And my mother tragically died when I was 4, but my sister who raised me was a gangster. Could take $1 and balance the budget like in 25 minutes, $100. So I think that in order to trust Black women, we gotta kind of like, I think you and I were talking about, or no, I was talking to my driver on the way over about holding yourselves accountable. 81% of people don't talk. And Black men have to talk to the women. And a lot of the women, and it's not 81% of women, it's 81% of people don't talk. So I think it starts with a dialogue. I can personally tell you, I can't imagine walking around with another person inside of me. And I think that we have to yield to women. And I don't think the government can tell you if you were raped. I mean, they're talking about if you were raped or molested, that you have to have that child. I don't think the government should have any say in that. Along with women having a choice of their bodies, we also have to teach our daughters and sons how to be responsible. Not rely on the plan B, you know, because abortion shouldn't be used just so you can all go out and have a good time. Right. Whether, because we walk away, you know, but women have to deal with the body, the changing your body. It's so much. I tell my girl all the time, I couldn't do it. Just having a menstrual cycle. I would say, God, can y'all let mine come it's like once a year? I have to pay somebody once a year because I watch my girl go through the changes emotionally, and not just physically, but it's a lot of shit women go through. So I think men, honestly, I think men need to sit down and shut the fuck up. Right. It's a lot that we don't see because if you weren't raised that way, you don't know. It's like you listening to you guys trying to be good husbands. The women gotta let us in and we can't tell them what to do. And I think this government has to step back and let women make choices for themselves. Yeah, women are
Men need to sit back and shut the fuck up. When it comes to a woman. He also said, if I may add, that he was on the campaign trail for Kamala. So we know where this conversation is going. And he said, while he was on the campaign trail, men were saying that he can't lead. She can't lead. He said, but my sister led. Well, Mr. Powell, I appreciate what you've given to us as an actor. I appreciate what you've given to us in the Black community as far as your skill set in that acting. But right here, you need to take your own advice. You do need to be quiet and shut the fuck up. I agree with you 1000%. You be quiet and shut the fuck up. Because when you look at Kamala Harris was a person who wanted to lead a country and she couldn't answer a question. She can't tell you what a woman is. She wanted to get sex changes to men who are in men prisons, so these men can get sex changes and go and be in women prisons. So, Mr. Powell, we do want you to shut the fuck up. Coach Ferg, I'm going to drop the link in a second, but I want to get everybody else's perspective. Welcome to the show. Our Payne is in the building tonight, as well as JT is in the building tonight. What's going on, guys?
What's up, fellas? Yeah, what's going on?
We'll start with Lost and we'll go around the room. Go ahead, Lost.
First of all, before I start with the critique, I'd like to thank the brothers for at least coming together and having a dialogue, because I think a lot of people need to see men come together to have an open dialogue. That's always a good thing. Second of all, I would like to say that these brothers are actually missing something with their manhood. To me, it sounds like they're broken. Now, there's nothing wrong with listening to women and taking to their advice and taking care of them, because that's what we're supposed to do as men. But my thing is this: if you don't know something, you should defer to professionals. You shouldn't be trying to diagnose your wife with fibroids or whatever. That's what the doctors get paid for. Those are the professionals. You know, you should get her help. As a husband, that's what you should do. Now, as far as all this other stuff about men needing to sit down and be quiet, I think that's dumb. Because my thing is this: men should be leaders. And to me, it sounds like that whole table of men have forgotten how to be leaders. It seems to me like it's a whole generation of men who have forgotten how to be men. Men who are no longer proud to be men. And I think that's doing a disservice to our community when our children don't have anybody to look up to besides their mother. Gentlemen, you need to realize that you are a willing and active participant in your family. And it shouldn't be this thing where you defer to women all the time. Yes, there are certain situations where your wife has to make the call in certain situations. Yes, we understand that. But at the end of the day, ultimately, you're going to be held responsible for what happens to your family. I don't know if anybody ever told you that. I'm telling you that now to your face. You are ultimately responsible. And not only that, you need to turn over yourself to God. And I think that's the key ingredient that's missing. Because if you feel like you have to defer everything over to your woman, when you should be turning everything that you have over to God and asking him for deliverance and asking him for guidance, I think you're out of order, sir. So with that being said, that's my whole spiel as far as these men needing to know exactly what to do. You need to turn to God first. And then from there, then you should start the lead and involve everybody else. I think it works better when you get the instructions from the master. And then from there, you'll know exactly where you need to go. And there's no question on how you lead your family. And there's no question where your family will go. That's all I got to say about that.
Our Payne?
Yeah, well, go ahead, JT. Let him go. I'll go after JT.
Okay, go ahead, JT.
All right, so when you actually look at this round table, it'll tell you everything that you need to know. Everybody that's in that round table is in Hollywood. So we already understand what that is. Mm-hmm. Secondly, you got a couple of suspects, and you have gay men sitting at that table, along with a bunch of men, and all of them are panderers. Every one of them. You got one man that they're looking for, and we'll see it later on, that they're looking for to give some great advice. But this man is a man that sits back and he panders to that other community. Sweet Pickles. Shout out to Uncle Jeff. Sugar Boys. And everybody's talking about manhood. And what we're going to witness tonight and what we're going to talk about, folks, is 10 years that they're behind. The way that they're talking to each other, the way that they're roundtabling with each other, we as content creators on YouTube been through that already. They're just reinventing the wheel. And I'm gonna end it with this, right? This right here should be a lesson to every man that's out here that thinks that they need to pull up their so-called queens the way that they're doing it. No, we need to challenge our queens to be better. This is not what we're going to be witnessing tonight. And I ended with that.
Yeah, man. You know, that was right. I mean, there's something good to see a bunch of men around a table talking face to face. Now, the panel has a certain thing, but if all four of us was around in a room, the effect is different. You know what I'm saying? So I'll commend the guys for getting together, but they're in the echo chamber. They're all ready to say the same pandering thing to each other in a different way. Now, some of what they say I can get with, but anytime when a man professes to acquiesce his leadership, then that's where you lose me. You know, so listen, for me, it took me and my wife 7 years to have our 2 kids. She had to go through a lot of shit. And at some point, you know, she had to talk directly to the doctors. And at that point, I was saying, okay, I'll support you in anything you had to do because I had to do my part. But she had to do the heavy lifting. But, you know, I made sure that the environment was safe for her to do all of that stuff. I never said, let me be away and just, you go ahead. And then when you're done, I come in, you know. So, you know, you never lose your leadership, even if she has to take charge of something. I may have to stick her with needles. I had to do all kinds of shit. You know, so I can't stand to hear men say at some point, just because a woman has to take some kind of position, you got to take a back seat and shut up. You just need to have this discernment to know when to lead and when to just, you know, let them do their thing. And that's what you have to do. You never secede. You never give up your leadership ever. You know, so I can't stand when I hear these panderers do all that shit, man. It makes me, it's nauseating. Even if they say some things that I agree with, they're always going to follow up with something I definitely don't.
All right. I agree. I think that I agree with all of you. I think that they're panderers. I think that they're doing it. A lot of this is theater. I think they're doing it to be liked. But my question is this, and I say this very forward. When are men really going to stand up and talk about the real fucking problem? And I don't understand how all these men sitting at this table, we're going to start discovering a little bit about each one of these niggas. Because the niggas on this round table, if they not gay, they played in movies and TV as gay men. We have a man sitting at the table that just got through talking about a woman's body, the first gentleman. And this man was on a TV show called P-Valley, fucking a man in the back seat of a car and kissing a man in the mouth. And we have this other man up here, Luke James. He's a great singer, but he paints his fingernails. And he's on a TV show called The Chi, where he dates trans men. All these niggas are aisle 5 at Walmart. And anybody know randomly what's on aisle 5 at Walmart? Sugar, sweet pickles. So I'm not really trying to hear none of what these niggas are saying. Because one of these niggas is gay. The other one, I'm gonna let that surprise you later. I'm gonna let that one surprise you later. Okay. I'm gonna let that happen and let y'all see about that. That shit's gonna really fuck you up when you find out about the next one. But we're gonna hop back into it. We're gonna hop back into it. Pause. Let's see. All right, that works. Okay, I'm just trying to fix it on this end, guys. Just a second. Anybody else want to add something while I'm fixing this?
So one of the things that that we also will be witnessing is that you have one guy is way older than the oldest gentleman sitting at that table other than him. Colin Powell. Clifton Powell is about to be 70 years old. This is his 70th year. And he is so conflated. He's so conflicted. That's the word I meant. He's so conflicted in his thoughts where it's at a point where he needed someone to be a bridge. But there's nobody that at that table that's going to be a bridge to bridge him, because he has one way on how he explains himself, but there's no one to actually help buffer him. You know, he's from that old school where when I talk, everybody listen type of thing. And he wasn't getting that from these gentlemen. Most of these guys, I think the oldest one is a young millennial. I think it's Luke James that's the oldest. I think he's the oldest. And he's only, 33, 34 years old, something like that. But this is the other thing that we're going to witness also. And it's kind of bad because this is what we had to deal with ourselves doing this thing with doing podcasts and being on panels and stuff like that. And he's like, I'm telling you, he's like 10 years behind now, man.
Well, all I'm saying, I want to, if I was at the table and I had to ask a question, I would ask, why are you gay? Because half these niggas are gay.
Why are you gay?
Why are you gay? Okay. That would be my question. But we're going to get back in here. Let's see. Hold on.
You know what, Black man, I just noticed they never invite anybody like us to the panel.
Oh, absolutely not.
It's always this circle jerk of guys who want to say the same exact thing, and nobody ever counters what somebody else. It's like they don't think for themselves. It's like they're almost like robots, and all of them got the same script.
Yep.
It sounds a little misandrist. Once we hear it, y'all, we gonna witness this together.
Yep. Here we go. If you need me to stop, just throw your hand up and I'll stop. If y'all hear something y'all want to talk about, here we go.
First wonder of the world. It's like what said. It's the first wonder. Exactly. That's the only thing outside of God that I know that creates. First and foremost. The issues that we have.
He said women are the first wonder of the world. Let's continue.
Are that the woman knows before we know whether or not life should be brought into earth, brought here, or if it should be aborted. They deserve to have that right for the simple fact of America does not allow us to run a system the way we should as a family. Men don't understand.
I want to translate here. I got time tonight. What he's saying is we should give women the right we should give the most emotional creature on the planet the ability to have the right to make an emotional decision in the moment about killing their child. A woman should have the right to tear her child apart inside of her. The most emotional creature on the planet should have the right to do that.
Well, they do though, BMU. They do.
They do what?
They're taking the right. They have a right to, not the right, but they're doing it right now, right?
Oh, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah, so we see the receipts. I mean, so I agree with you. Come on, we see the receipts of that decision.
Yep,
right.
And we see what's happening.
We see it all around it, right? So, what he's saying kind of doesn't make sense, just from the standpoint that we see the ramification of them taking full advantage of using abortion as birth control.
Yep,
they're playing right into a eugenics program.
But this is something, Black man, and it's been a minute since we've even brought that whole thing up. But this is what I came to a consensus of. Men are complicit in it. Most men, they're not going to admit it, but they're for abortion. Most men, they just won't admit it. That's where I got to the point where I was like, that's a losing fight for us every time that we would go with that. But most men would not they will say, hey, especially if it's a woman that they didn't want to have a kid by. So most men are absolutely complicit. That's where I got to the point where I was just like, that's a subject that I never want to talk about ever again, ever, because men are liars when they say that they're not.
I don't disagree with what you just said. But I don't think most men lead with saying that if you're in the mix, and especially if you're going through your formative years, you had those nights where you wish the girl that you got pregnant had an abortion. Matter of fact, you paid for it. So I agree with you. That's why I agree with you. But that still doesn't render us voiceless in the situation, because it depends on what frame of, if your wife can go kill your baby, you got something to say about that.
But it makes sense.
Right now, she can. Right. Well, you want a kid? She can go kill your baby without you talking to you.
So that's what I'm saying. It makes us.
You may not even know. You may get her pregnant, and she may not even tell you she's pregnant.
Right.
And go just kill the baby.
And that's what I'm saying. Where it gets to a point where it's like it's only going to frustrate you when we have that conversation, especially when we have it with women, when they can sit back and they can say, "I have the right, my body." And we could come with something like one time. You remember when I asked a question on the panel one time, and I asked the women. I said, "So when is it? How old is it that a human being, a baby, how old do they need to be in order for them to have the right to live?" And not one woman, even the women that was on our side, couldn't answer. They didn't want to answer that question. That was the last time I had that conversation ever again.
Well, the only thing I would kick back is that, the woman, if she right now it's the law where they can do that, but I think men should have the right to refuse to take care of a baby they don't want. As long as they have that right to do what they're doing, then we should have a right to walk away as well. Right? We might not, and that's what I'm saying. Because if I don't want the kid and you have one against my wishes, why I gotta be stressed?
So what if we had and this is the craziest part, our pain. If some guys said, listen, we're gonna make this a movement. If you got the right to be able to delete a child, I should have a right to not want to take care of the child, right? Do you understand that we still wouldn't win? There wouldn't be not one man. It wouldn't be one man that's going to go to the long haul of that, because the first thing is going to happen is what? We're going to get shamed. This is deadbeat men crusading because they don't want to take care of it. And no matter what it is, we can come up with the most prolific way. Right. We can be and it still would not matter.
But JT, we get shamed anyway.
I'm saying, but what I'm saying is that, yes, what I'm saying is that you still would not have enough men that'll sit back and say, I will weather the storm in shaming. I don't care if you shame me. You wouldn't have those men that would do it. So
we really don't know that, but I'm not advocating that we go and make that a big issue. I'd rather we fight paternity fraud, but before then. But we don't know how the outcome would, but I agree with you. Most men won't rally around that as a plank, so it's a moot conversation. So I agree with you there.
Yeah.
Now the guy that's on that round table, he's married in real life, but these are the roles that he takes on when he's on TV.
And he had many sex scenes with that guy too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, he might be married, but he's clearly a bisexual, right?
Right,
of course,
right, absolutely.
Man, here's the issue that I have. You have a generation of men who like to abdicate their responsibility to women. You know what I mean? They'll sit up there and say, she should have the right to abort the child. Well, my thing is you have the right to make sure you find a woman that's going to be a suitable mother for your children. We don't ever have that conversation, because it's easier for them to just give her the ability to wipe away his responsibility, and the child has absolutely no say-so in the matter. So my thing is, why should a child suffer because the man lacked leadership to go out and find a wife that's suitable for him? If you go out and you get some harlot pregnant and you want to watch she abort your baby, that's on you, because you planted it on infertile soil, improper soil. You see what I'm saying? So my thing is this: when guys sit up here and they say stuff like, you know what, hey, I think a woman should have the right to get rid of a baby and all this other stuff, brother, you also have the right to make sure that you take care of your responsibilities too, and stop giving your responsibility to somebody else, because you can't do that in real life. You can't go to your job and give your work to somebody else and still pick up a paycheck. That's not how that works. So all of a sudden, how does that work when it comes to making kids and being a responsible party in your family as the head? I think what happens is when you have a generation of men that do stuff like that, you'll get a round table of men like that who will let stuff like that slide and won't even check themselves. So that's my whole thing. When you have guys like this, you're going to wind up with situations where you have people doing whatever and nobody takes responsibility for anything that they do. But these are the people they want to put in leadership. They want to hold other people accountable for stuff, but they don't want to hold themselves accountable for stuff. I don't get it. And I don't think they should be leaders.
And this is Luke James with a trans man on the TV show called The Shy. All these niggas have homosexual ties. And so we're going to listen to what these homosexual niggas have to say. Okay. Now, I've been hearing a lot because today I posted something on social media. I think it was yesterday about Mr. Tyler Perry, and niggas went crazy. I said, and I quote, because this is the leadership they want. And we'll go over that too. But let me see, where's my post I had today about Brother Tyler that pissed everybody off. Because I love pissing people off. I love rocking the boat. I think it's right. Hold on just a second. Where is it at? I pissed a whole bunch of people off. And it made me glad. It made me happy. To be able to do that. I love it. Let's see. I got it right here. Okay, yeah, here it is. So I said, Tyler Perry is extremely gay. He promotes all the wrong things and pushes the emasculation of black men in TV shows and movies. And black people still follow him and complain about Trump. Hell, what's the difference? Put it in the comments. I want to know your thoughts. Here comes some gay niggas. So one of the niggas said, so he wrong for this movie? Yes, he is wrong for the movie. The next one says, what does his preference? Watch this. This is how women view men. If they're gay, they say this. What does his preference have to do with the message? So I can go out and be a promiscuous man and fuck 10 bitches in 3 days. And y'all call me a dog ass hoe nigga. But a man who sucks dick gets a pass. So now when he suck dick and he do something good, he get a pass. It says here, what does the preference have to do with me? Are you too homophobic to see it? What acting gay beside what? Then this is dumb motherfucker will say they can't spell. What act of being gay besides him playing a character of a woman like any other men have done makes you uncomfortable? Where did he emasculate? Tyler Perry has always been in feminine nature. Tyler Perry has always been feminine. And Tyler Perry, you ain't seen it with no woman, and the son he got may not be his. He may have adopted him. But Tyler Perry has always been effeminate, and he always is projecting all his TV shows. Anything that Tyler touches has a dick going in somebody's ass. let me say it again for the people in the back. Anything that Tyler Perry touches has a dick going in a man's ass, or the man is extremely abusive in the movie. He beating his wife's ass, or he a blue collar worker with braids in his hair, working at a steel factory or some shit. He has never looked at men in a great light. So he projects his gayness. He projects the emasculation of black men. I said it today. I'll say it tomorrow. I don't give a fuck about to stand alone and say it by myself. Tyler Perry is gay. All his stuff he's doing now is gay. This movie he just made, I ain't even watched it, but I know somewhere in there, He's gay.
He got a new movie out of this shit. You know.
All right. Everything he does has something to do. And then I watched it. Somebody had a clip on YouTube, a reel or something, of his TV show, Sisters or Brothers or some stupid shit, where a man in the waiting room at a hospital. I wish I had it queued up. And
Yeah,
Tyler
Sisters.
Perry, he gets slapped, and the bitch turned all the way around to myself and spin on the floor. But he's supposed to be a heterosexual man.
Yeah.
You should stop this bullshit, man. So again, I said again, I want to send a shout out to those people who may be watching right now. Tyler Perry is gay.
Well, you know,
And everything he does is gay. And they tell me, I'm not finished. I'm not finished because these hoes pissed me off today. And another lady came back and said,
It made me snort.
it doesn't matter if he's given more opportunities to black actors and actresses than anyone else. His sexual preference has nothing to do with his talent and his character. And I said, well, Epstein, R. Kelly, and Diddy gave opportunities to black people too. I said, but let me give you scripture because this lady's here, but she's of the Lord. I can't understand how some of these women say they're Christians and they're okay with niggas sucking dick.
They're not. How?
Okay. Isaiah 5:20. I said, woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness before light and light before darkness, that put bitter before sweet and sweet before bitter. She didn't say anything else back. They don't want to go toe to toe with me because I would tell I rip the ass a new one. Then I had somebody else come and say, I had some people who agree with me that said he got rich off making fun of his own race. Okay. This other person says our people will forever be lost until people rationalize bullshit. All right. That's a long one. I'm not going to read that one. Then this lady right here said with her ugly ass, she said, shut the fuck up. He just telling the truth. A lot of you black men, y'all get y'all shit together and you wouldn't feel offended. I said, Stephanie, I would respond to this, but you can't spell worth a fuck. And all your words are misspelled. So I'm not going to waste my time with you. She misspelled every other word. They're going to come back and talk about, well, I'm a graduate from LSU. You got a PhD and you can't spell fucking offended. She spelled offended. AFFEND.
Well, that tells a lot about that damn school.
She has DBS. Listen,
need to check themselves.
Some women have DBS. They have BBS. They have dumb bitch syndrome. And I'm here to call it out. And I'm gonna give you the cure. And then one lady said she blocked me. I've been knowing her for years. She blocked me. Who gives a fuck? She said, I swear you can't survive without debating. Shaking my head. What a terrible comparison. That's comparing apples to oranges, literally. Be careful making broad generalization. She can't spell either. Like that about black people. Not only is it stereotypical, it's ignorant. That's like saying there are no good black men. See how silly that sounds? And not all black men support Tyler Perry's work. Yes, we don't. Because real men, heterosexual men, tough men, men who are warriors, don't want to sit up and have a date night with a woman trying to get some pussy and look over and see a man getting fucked in the ass on the screen. I'm going to say this when we get back to this. Who wants, as a man, who wants to sit down with his woman on the couch and watch Tyler Perry TV shows where everything he does has something to do with a penis on in the rectum of a man with hair on his chest? And then we're not even going to talk about the lawsuit he got. They ain't dropped that shit. The courts didn't drop that shit. They still investigating this shit. Where this man say Tyler Perry invited him over to the house, put a Madea wig on his head, tried to fuck him in the ass. Fuck out of here. Okay, let's get back to this. But yeah, this is gay nigga on the screen. Who's sitting at the table too? So we got this nigga and we got this nigga. Both niggas do gay shit on TV and paint their nails and do gay shit. You can't share a cigarette with these niggas. You can't share a drink with these niggas. The nigga bite off his Whopper, let him have it. Okay. All right, let's put this back up and listen to this weak ass nigga right here. All these niggas have mama issues. All these niggas are weak as fuck. Let's start back. Here we go.
Be the leader, but you might not be the provider. Do you know how to lead if you are not the provider? In the midst of trying to figure it out, we coming from a whole bunch of systematic. It's been constructed for us to be the way that we are, to think that we are. That's not how it was
And
programmed.
then talk about that program I mentioned where they took they paid
Black
to take black fathers out of the house.
And then from there, me and Cliff was talking about that when it started with the Section 8. women were able to take care of the kids without the man being in the house, which gave her the mindset that I can be the leader because I have to be the provider. And then after that, it was the crack epidemic, which guys started using when they was going to prison. Regardless, we stayed out of the house. Now it's social media. And the thing is, we were always here to protect the Black women. And if you ever seen the movie Sparta, men were actually the leaders, but the leader knew how to lead because he still trusted the woman with the gift that God gave her, which was intuition and discernment. And if you knew how to treat your woman and she knew how to love and that stress was off her, it allowed y'all to operate as a family unit to be able to trust her so she can be able to trust you. Once you realize how powerful that woman is, a lot of us run around, and even for myself, I struggle with being monogamous because I didn't understand the value of a woman. But once you put a woman next to God, would you play with God the same way? And if you knew what you possessed as powerful, I don't think that we would run around with a promiscuous mindset of thinking it's okay because we want to look at women the way that we are downplaying the thing of how they are.
So I'm going to
real quick though. I think that there's something I think that's really dope that you started with is around women being first close to God, right? Like that's a fact. And talking about creation, talking about creating, talking about, because I do think people talk about the human race all the time, and it started with blah blah blah. It started.
These niggas say put woman next to God. Put woman next to God. I don't even have to go to the Bible, Lost in Translation. Are you ready?
Yeah, man.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Let's fast forward a little bit. God created Adam. Or was it Eve? I'm confused, Lost. Can you help me?
I can help you. Thou shalt not have any other God before me.
Oh, okay. So who was created first, man or woman?
Man.
Oh, okay. So you put her next to God. But she, and then the Bible also says in Genesis that the woman is the what vessel? I keep forgetting it. What's the word?
Vessel.
Oh, the weaker vessel. So God wants the woman to lead when she's already been created to be weak in the first place. That's the kind of leader that these niggas are saying should be out there. The Bible says that the woman is the weaker vessel. Now, also it says here in 1 Timothy 2:14, it says, and Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in transgression. So from the beginning, you couldn't trust her. You said from the beginning, she needed leadership and guidance. So you mean to tell me you're going to let a woman who is the weaker vessel, who can't lead, make her the leader of the free world, make her make the decisions? I beg to differ. And I want to say this to all the men out there that want us to agree with this, agree with it. But I'm looking forward to the day where women can prove it. I want men to go on strike. And I want men to say, you know what, for the next 100 days, we're not doing no construction. We not doing fixing no toilets. We not driving no buses. We ain't driving no 18-wheelers. We're not going to be in the ambulance to help you revive you when you have a car crash. The firefighters not going to show up to fires, and we won't let the women take over for 100 days. And I guarantee you, day 101, the world will be upside down. Nuclear power plants will be burning to the ground, and radiation would be in the air, and planes would be crashing, and it'll be a food desert, and it won't be no food. It won't be nothing. Women need guidance. They're like children. Now, somebody say, women, well, you say a woman's like a child. Think about it. When a woman don't get what she wants, what does she do? She mopes. Or she gets in her feelings. My daughter does that. Dad, can I have $10? I don't have it. What you mean? Baby, can I get this dress? No. I don't know. What? I want what I want. You see what I'm saying? So you want this type of creation by God. God created, let me stop trying to be funny. God created woman to be the man's help. Nothing more, nothing less. You're here to help me, not lead me. And I think where these niggas are going wrong is that they're saying put the woman above the man because the woman is they're smarter than we are. And I've been hearing this since I was a child. You know, women smarter than men. And when they grow up, they always be smarter than the men are. They're not. They're not. And I'm tired of hearing it. I'm tired. I'm tired of hearing funky ass men on here. I'm tired of these soggy bottom boy ass fucking platforms who sit up here and say women can do anything a man can do. You're wrong. Let's prove it. Let's prove it. I can go on a donut bench for 464 days and get in a UFC ring and beat the fuck out of a woman. We are naturally stronger. We are naturally faster. We are naturally that. Men are fucking men. Our pain painted the fucking propellers on the Titanic and can beat a bitch up today. What are we talking about?
But see, black man, this is what I was just saying as far as like their conversation and the way that they're approaching the conversation is so far behind now. Listen, first and foremost, they're trying to give history lessons. They gave that dude that just was talking about the whole thing about the woman had to be left by herself. We done heard this shit so goddamn many times. When motherfuckers actually do some work and say, listen, let's speak on the actual thing that happened. How many times have I did one in 1986 in Jersey. I did another one in I think it was Philadelphia. I did another one in Detroit in the 80s, in the 70s. I did shows on it showing receipts in that time, during that time, and what they were thinking during that time. These guys, they just going off of what somebody else is saying. There's nuances to what they're saying, but my point is this. We have to, as men, have to have draw a hard line with other men, the infiltrators. It's not the women. We can't fight the women. Let me tell you why, because we already win. It's the other men that infiltrate, like this whole table here. When you hear Clifton Powell, see, my thing is this. You got a man that was born in the 50s, sitting at that table with everybody else was born in what, the late 70s or probably mid 80s. He's out of pocket because he needs to be with some men that can actually guide him, not these goddamn soggy bottom boys. And that's where we having a problem. Like the conversation we're hearing is a conversation that was already had. They didn't get the memo because they was too busy going out there and competing for lines. My lines. I can't read none of my lines. This is why we have the problem that we have. When you got this table, let me tell you, and our Payne said it, man, it made me nauseous, and I had to stomach this shit. I had to watch this shit, and I had to stomach this shit. You got a bunch of men. Remember when I texted you earlier, black man, when I told you, I said, I was looking at it in real time while I was texting you. What did I say? You got a bunch of feminist ass talking men and gay men sitting at the table because their whole thing is to dismantle patriarchy.
Yep.
Their whole thing at the table, they all agree with each other. That's why I want us to get, because people won't believe that this is what it, but we have to draw the line with the men. It's too easy to fight the women. It's these goddamn infiltrators. That damn Luke James and the other boy, the one we ain't even see. I just want to get a little bit further in there because what's really telling is the argument, pause. But what's really telling is when you hear Clifton and the young dude that don't like his daddy, that got daddy issues, when they get into it.
Yeah, let's get it. Let's go. Let's go. I'm gonna speed it up through the bullshit. Here we go.
Yeah. It's pausing.
Oh, hold on.
I was about to say, you must be listening to it.
Yeah, my bad.
When we talk about bodily autonomy, it's about, we all want the right to control our bodies. I don't want nobody telling me what to do with my body, right? And that is a right that expands even beyond having a kid, right? And fostering that environment to be able to raise folks. Like we talked about, like the village, right? You know, and that it takes a village to raise a kid. It wasn't like, okay, all these people on the block got a responsibility. It was actually, you understood that kid that every decision that goes into raising that kid, teaching that kid how to move, teaching that kid how to communicate, it forms their future, but it also affects everybody in the village, right? And so everybody had a responsibility to make sure that person and the people that were raising that kid had what they needed, had the healthiest environment and things, you know, to make sure that everyone is okay, that we all can live the life that we deserve, right? And so, you know, I do want to also make sure that, I ain't got no kids, just so I can't talk about, the standpoint of a father, but there are fathers at this table. I also got 25 nephews and nieces. I'm over here, you know what I'm saying? I got strategy over here. But there's perspectives from all on this table from every angle of it, and I do want to go back to and we can go wherever you wanted to go, whatever you wanted to say, but I do want to talk about that like you said, the government shouldn't be involved. Keeping in mind that this is a government that was steeped in what they call white supremacy. I like to call white delusion, right? You know what I'm saying? Same thing, right? And they
don't want to believe that they came from a black woman.
Yeah, and the definition
you came from a black woman.
Well, the definition of masculinity, the definition of what we do with our bodies and how we define a government's role in that came from that corrupt standpoint, that corrupt perspective. So I 100% agree that the government should do anything about it. But where did you want to go with that?
Well, I think one of the things that I think helps, I believe, with women's rights in terms of their sexual reproduction is the relationship that we have with the black man. I heard a psychiatrist when I was on one of the panels say that African-American men and women are suffering from 450 years of post-slavery PTSD. Yes. So one of the things that I love about this thing right here is that the next one I want to see is black men and black women sitting down together and talking about how do we learn to exist in peace. And I say that because I'm saying this, and a lot of times I have to catch myself. It's emotional. I grew up with a lot of violence around. My father, when he drank, I seen him knock women. My father fight a baby. He was just off. He was mentally off from the oppression of this culture that broke him. And, so we were born, a lot of us were born into that, our fathers, and we're trying to break those cycles. So somehow that ties into me to women's reproductive choices in terms of having a baby with a guy that's comes from a broken family. Now a baby coming in with a broken family and bam, bam, bam. And mother's asking the father for support. Like, I ain't actually had that motherfucking baby. That ain't shit. I don't even know if that ever. I mean, there's so many levels to this that make women coward or not want to talk. Or be the victim of one guy shot his baby mama and the kids the other day. It's so I think we got to attack that from not just right now in this racist culture that we're seeing with this administration, but also from a generational standpoint for sure.
I don't have the historical information, man. That's why I'm a listener, man. I'm a great listener.
Oh, hey, listen, I hope y'all ready for this. I hope and pray that y'all ready for what this bitch nigga's about to say. Our pain. You done seen this already?
No, I ain't seen it.
Brother, this man is finna disrespect an entire generation of black men.
What I want to know is how did Clifton make the leap from women should have kids and men whooping women's asses?
Yeah, man, they're all over the place.
How did he do that?
All over the place.
How did he do that? I'm still trying to figure out how did he make that leap.
This nigga's
finna babies.
The boomers, all you niggas are about to be disrespected. Watch what this nigga say about the welfare system and the women. Listen to this.
But when I hear, from your generation, your perspective, and your perspective, everybody's perspective in the sense that as we get into it, I feel like we let women down in that regard. We didn't stand on business. And
what you mean by that?
I just feel like we let depression wear us down. Fathers let depression wear them down, beat them down, take them out of the house, and
they forced them out of the house.
Forced them.
No, they had a program. They forced them.
They
didn't leave the house.
I feel that. I understand that. Ain't nobody gonna make me leave my woman. I get that. I get it. But ain't nobody gonna make me leave my family. I understand that. I could never fathom what went on back then.
I think you might be alluding to weak ass men allowing things that might be coming up. This seems like, I don't know exactly the historical presence of it either. But you know how you say you stripping us from the house? Oftentimes I'm a man who dates men. A lot of men are strong. So the way that you say you're not gonna take nobody from my family, you're not gonna strip me from my family, a lot of people don't walk with that. A lot of people don't have that.
Pause that shit.
It is systematic, but at the same time,
if you somebody
pause that shit. There we go. There's another one.
Did you hear it? That nigga
it's
said,
mostly gay men sitting at the table.
Using that era, nigga, they will your ass, that woman will have your ass up at the house.
No. You missed it. He says he's a man that dates men.
Yeah.
Why are we sitting at the table with these dudes?
Come on.
That's my whole point. It doesn't make any sense. It's conflicting. He started his sentence out by saying these weak ass men. Nigga, you a dropout.
Yep.
You're the weakest of all. You don't even want to be a man that's a man. You a fucking dropout. What are we talking about? This is what I'm saying. This table is full of, the oldest gentleman, the goddamn AARP holder, card holder at the table. Matter of fact, this nigga is at retirement age, ain't he?
Yep.
Senior citizen. He's the most conflicted of all of them because of what he's been through. He should be he should be talking with men, not men that's just his age. He needs to be talking with men that actually understands. This is why it's frustrating him. He's trying to fit in by saying what the fuck he's saying. It's like he let a lot of that shit slide. Now, let me say this, and we get back to it, or you guys can talk. But he also led, remember, I don't know if you cut it or whatever, but he didn't even want to sit down with these motherfuckers, bro. He didn't even want to do this shit. I'm talking about Clifton.
No, he didn't. He said it.
He didn't even want to do this shit, man. So that's why I'm like, okay, I'll give him a little more grace than that, because he needs to be sitting down with some guys that can edify him at his big age. That's what he needs. And we've already seen it. We done seen guys that come up that's very old and they had conversations, but they didn't run from the conversation. And then they started learning shit from motherfuckers that actually knew some things, bro.
Ain't nobody gonna take me from my family.
This
Ain't
is crazy.
Nobody gonna take me from my family, my woman.
The only pushback I would have with you, JT, is, and I see this now, there are times when, generations shouldn't be on certain panels. I think this panel, this roundtable discussion should have all generations there.
Yeah, but they should have. They should have.
What I'm saying is, I agree with you. At some point, if there's like just a bunch of like Gen Xers talking, or Gen Zs talking and shit, maybe the old heads don't need to be around the table. That's why there's panels I don't go on. I might listen, but I don't go on. But this one needs cross-generational lines, as long as you know your place in the part of the discussion. You know what I'm saying? Now, these young guys, a lot of the younger guys, if my man, the older dude, was on his square, he would be able to at least maybe give these guys some pause for thought. But he's just one of them. As an old head going through when the women made the choice to get the men out of the house, that shit didn't happen in my family. All the fucking husbands were in their family. We had a whole bunch of death do we part. So when the welfare shit came down, my aunts and shit didn't accept that. They kept their husbands in the house. My cousins kept their men and their families together. And unbeknownst to me, I wasn't thinking, since I was in the mix, there was a whole lot of men who didn't return, and when a woman made those choices. But it was never my reality. That's why sometimes I argue this stuff, until I started to realize that there were so many baby boomers, right? Even if it's 10% or 20% of them fell for this shit, that's enough to make a big ass difference.
Well, Arpan, you got to look at it like this. Just like you said, you didn't see a whole lot of men being kicked out of the house. Sometimes we get captive to our own little bubbles. When I was coming up, and we used to have discussions with other little kids, and they was talking about how, kids didn't always stay with their parents. And I was like, well, everybody I know, mamas and daddies is married and they stay together. But that was just my bubble. Come to find out, if you do a little bit of research, about 70% of our kids are not with their parents. They live in the same home. So sometimes you got to make sure that you listen to what other people have to say. But at the same time, we still have to make sure that we figure out exactly what's really going on. In order for us to do that, we got to have people that's in places that are actual leaders, and not these guys who abdicate their leadership to other people.
Correct.
Who's supposed to edify somebody who gives up their leadership? Nobody. That's the reason why nobody said, hey, you should listen to him, because deep down inside they already know they can't, because he's been compromised.
Yep. And he's been tooted up and booted up. Here we go.
I mean, you part of like the few men who's not gonna live their life like that.
I mean, I get a system that you live in a place that is just geared to tell you ain't shit, you ain't shit, you ain't shit,
and it beats you down.
You ain't shit, you ain't shit, and it beats your other counterpart down. So y'all come home to beatness. Yeah. Nobody want to heal anybody, right?
It's a lot that goes into it. I think it's a lot of different influences that happen, whether it's drugs, right? We know that our community struggled with that for a long time.
But let's talk about them. Let's go back. Let's go back and talk about the CIA with the drugs. That's
what I'm gonna say. We're in a country where drugs is probably the most highest profit of things that you want, right? But just speaking on fatherhood and being in the house and not being in the household, I think there's a lot of pressures coming from east side, right?
Yeah.
I've looked at fathers who run in the household and had conversations with them and say, man, you've been on drugs since you was 12 years old, brother. Your brain doesn't have the capability of thinking correctly, right? You are afraid that you can't provide for your family, so you would rather leave, right? Not knowing that you have a woman who's willing to stay down with you and hold you down no matter what, right? So it's just, as a man who, even to this day, get nervous, right? Like, man, this shit is slowing up. Like, am I better off telling my baby? And then like, y'all go, no, of course not, right? But you have to be honest about yourself and say, I'm fearful of certain things, and say, and not necessarily a weakness, but necessarily it's like, I'm scared.
right, that I can't provide. And now I've either let someone else kind of tell me what I need to do, right, rather than following my own intuition and having a relationship with my ancestors in the universe and that can really guide you, or having that one-on-one with your lady. So many things that can pull people out of the house. Similar to the conversation, it's like, well, if I was enslaved, I wouldn't have done that. It's like, well, you really don't know. So it's like, it's so many different things that go into why people do things. And sometimes, you can name it to, it's like, oh, this person was being a coward, or this person was being, but a lot of it is fear, and a lot of it is because we're the minority. And because the pressure that comes from so many other people that don't look like us, it's a lot of pressure that makes you feel that way. And then you got the people that's in your community that pressure, that oppress you, right? And so as men, we do it to women, right? As men, that's the tier. We do it to women even more, right? We fall underneath that same thing. So to your point, we got to strip that away, figure out what the issue is with that, have those conversations, understand that it's layers and layers of what it is, but also don't be like, you weak as hell.
I'll make sure that word's like that now.
You wouldn't be able to do it. You ain't able to hold it down. But it's just like, man, it's so many, reasons why a man will leave a household. And then sometimes it's us not holding them accountable and saying, hey, look, man, you need to get your shit together. All right, you need to make sure you're over there. And now I'm sitting here playing spades with you and smoking again, saying your kid 3 blocks down the street. And wait. So no accountability. So to your point, as you was talking to your driver, let's take accountability, but then also kind of give each other a little bit of grace and understanding, especially our OGs who went through a lot, especially our guys who are coming from Vietnam, right? Who came home to nothing and lost everything and went out there and lost their mind, saw things we could never imagine, right?
Did everything for this place.
Everything for this country just for them to take it away from you. And so now I say, well, fuck everybody.
That's my entry point to this conversation. I think that because I went to college and I got a master's degree in human relations, I really set with and grapple with power and domination when it comes to like gender discrimination and when it comes to discrimination against women. So for me in this conversation, thinking about like fatherhood, I can't help but to think about the way in which I was introduced into this conversation about women's progression.
So what environment was she in? Did she feel protected? Did she feel wanted, cared for, seen? All the things. So early on, for me, I think for me, it's kind of gone to a place of just humanity of it all, just like a person. I want to do what I want to do when I want to do it. Right. I want to feel how I feel. That's me. I want the same for everybody. Yes. I want you to live your life. I don't want nobody to take their life. But for the most part, if it makes you happy, go do your thing. That's me. Right. That's who I am. I understand that a lot of people are not like that. A lot of people also don't have my experience. Yeah. That has probably made me this way. For sure. My upbringing, you dig? Single parent household, only my mama. Watching my mama deal with men, a safety engineer at NASA, surrounded by white men, telling her she don't know what she's doing, and she telling them, you got to put the gloves on. You know what I mean? It's my perspective is from that's my earliest.
I want to, because how in this moment, because we have, when we're talking about the government, we have abortion bans in Georgia, my home state, Texas, that's leading to women dying,
Pops into my head right now.
That's something that we're taught. Masculinity is how powerful we can be and how we can protect what we own and what we, you know what I'm saying? That is not
JT,
what
this is going to be a surprise for you too, brother.
So
you
I'm
missed
thinking
this.
about, outside of that, how do y'all think about safety outside of just I'm the protector? You know what I'm saying? How do we build that?
The thing that pops into my head right now as we're having this conversation is the system is capitalism, and what that looks like is we're talking about therapy, which I think is very important, but we don't think about the colonial aspect of therapy, which I mentioned in our conversation earlier, and how capitalism and this individualistic view of our responsibility as well is tied to breaking up of our communities. You talked about a village, so when we're thinking about our families, like you as a father, I'm not a dad, I don't have any children, I don't plan on it. When people think, okay, I have a family and I'm raising my children, it's like mom, dad, kids, and we forget like that is a lot of pressure, and it's not supposed to be that way. Right. I think it's supposed to be a community of people that are helping each other, and we have not created that community. It's just like I'm over here with my family here, I'm over there with my family there, and there's no communication. And I think that's ultimately something that's really important, is us being able to come together and create from there, create the community where everyone has a responsibility to themselves and each other.
Our natural ways have been dismantled.
Real quick, do you have examples of what that looks like in your life?
Give me a more specific question.
If it's not, you think about it, but just like what that protection, what that looks like. You talked about colonial effect on therapy. Yeah, now, I know that to me, I'm like, hell yeah, talk about the colonial therapy. But I also don't. I know that a lot of people don't know what the hell that means, right?
Saying, like, when you think about therapy and when you're going,
and I'm not asking you necessarily about that. I'm asking you generally what that protection and that outside help and so it looks like in your life.
Like growing up, I'll use my life as an example. Obviously, I grew up with both my parents, my mom and my dad. From the outside, it would look very traditional, but my mom was the one that was really holding everything down. My dad was very supportive with me when it came to providing monetarily. He also was the one that had a more formal education, so he was able to help me when I needed help with schoolwork. But when it came to my care, it was my mom that was there. And then I noticed the way that he behaved, or like his behavior around women, and how he was with my mom, how he was with his sisters and his mother, and how he was with me. So I'm, as a trans person, and as being his daughter and his little girl at the time, he treated.
Whoa.
Pause again. How many is that now?
What did I tell you?
How many is that? How many? So it's a woman sitting at the table.
Yeah, it's a woman at the table.
It's 4 dog. Come on, dog.
I can't make this shit up.
Hey, go back for a second. Let me hear that again.
You can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. You can't. And black women love it. Go look at the comments. Black women is loving this conversation from 4 gay niggas and a nigga that used to be a bitch.
All right, play that shit again.
God.
My dad was very supportive with me when it came to providing monetarily. He also was the one that had a more formal education, so he was able to help me when I needed help with schoolwork. But when it came to my care, it was my mom that was there. And then I noticed the way that he behaved, or like his behavior around women, and how he was with my mom, how he was with his sisters and his mother, and how he was with me. So I'm, as a trans person, and as being his daughter and his little girl at the time, he treated me with such care, and it was the complete antithesis in the way that he treated my mother and the way that he treated his sister. So it was interesting to see him treat my mom like shit, and then be like, no, but my sister's like, I'll kill somebody if someone mess with my sister. I'll kill somebody if someone mess with my mother. I'm like, why don't you bring that same energy to my mother?
So this guy's a woman?
Yes.
Yes. This is cosplay, dog.
Oh my God.
This whole table is a misandrous table. And the bad part about it is that it's men. And one bitch.
Oh God damn it. Whoa, fuck.
And they slide this shit past people because they sit there, and I'm telling you, it's more than just us just watching. I'm guaranteed ain't nobody catching it how we catching it.
Whoa,
the whole table is
nigga. You see what we watching right now? We got to get this together.
This is crazy. The whole table is misandrous. It's,
you know what?
Dog, they're talking self-hate.
Bruh, somebody
it's
said
that hate of men.
Why LGBT dudes discussing heterosexual relationships? Do they
absolutely
do this in other communities of people? No.
Nope.
Absolutely not.
Black man, you know what the problem is, man.
Talk to me.
These guys are absolutely just stupid. And I'm gonna tell you why they're stupid. They're fighting against themselves. In one breath, they're saying that they're the minorities, and in another breath, they're saying that women should have the right to get rid of the numbers. You said they should whittle down the babies. You will always be the minority if you get rid of your numbers. Do we need to say that again? You will never be the majority if you get rid of your numbers. You will always be at the will and the whim of someone else. It also ties into business. When you whittle your numbers down, that means you don't have anybody else in other industries to do business with. I don't understand why they don't get this. And they sit up here and they complain about the very problems that they cause. Do they not think? Do they not think?
Man, this is crazy, bro.
This is great.
Oh, wait.
I mean, so when in my transition, and when I started thinking about how I wanted to show up as a man in this world, it was like I wanted to borrow that softness that he embodied when he was interacting with other women in his family, but not the way that he treated my mother, and what that partner violence looked like, and why. So like I started to question what was his view of my mother, because clearly he didn't see her as family. Not really. He saw her as an incubator that gave birth to his child that he now loves and cares for. And then he has his sisters and his mother that he also cares for and wants to protect. But all the women that he would be engaged sexually with were just that. There were things that I got to get pleasure, and it can make me a meal, and that was that.
Personally, I grew up with all women. Like single parent home, had no grandparents, except my grandmother, no grandfather. Both had passed away before I was born. Father wasn't around, and taking care of everybody. So I've always conceded power to women. That's been my nature. I said my nature and my nurture is because that's all that was there.
I knew it.
Did you hear what he said?
I knew it.
He said, I've always conceded my power to women. So basically what he's saying is, I'm going to translate in the most unfiltered way possible. I don't care who don't like it. I'm a bitch. I have no authority. I have no backbone. If I'm in a relationship, the woman going to run all over me. If I'm in a relationship, I'm gonna be a yes man. I'm never going to challenge my woman. I'm never going to correct my woman. I'm never going to hold her accountable. I'm going to be a big bug-eyed Star Wars character face looking motherfucker, weak nigga for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
that's what he's saying.
So, and also, black man, do you know the name of the platform that they're on?
It's Sissy something. What is it?
It's
Sister Sissy or some shit.
Sister Song, Women of Color, and the consciously.
So it's a woman sponsoring this shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sister Song, Women of Color, and the consciously.
You know what? Let me tell y'all something.
Shit.
I saw on, what's the name of the damn show where they sit in the room with all the chairs in the dark room with the light on their butt head?
Jubilee?
It's another one. But I saw a woman on there. We're going to do a show about them. These women had more nuts than these niggas at this table when they were talking about men and how to respect men and how they talk to men and all this other, man, we got to do a show on it. These women held it down. When I tell you it was three black, I think it was a half black, half Chinese lady, or Asian lady, a white girl, and two black women. When I tell you they killed everybody when they came to this fucking men supporting men, boy, we got to do a show. Oh, they killed it. But anyway,
you got to put the link to this shit in the chat. I mean, in the back chat.
Absolutely. All right, I ain't gonna put no link in the back. Pause. Okay. That's just fucking crazy. Y'all like I'm not. I ain't finna do that either. Okay, let's go back to the video.
We'll talk about it later, black man.
Put the link in
your ass said a lot of plausible shit.
Where's a man and who can teach me how to do it? What does it look like? I'm looking to Sam Davis Jr. and Sidney Poitier and anybody's got autobiography or whatever, Bill Cosby, only to get that dream shattered. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think a lot of men who've grown up in those environments are trying to figure out how to hold themselves accountable while also holding themselves hostage, right? I was trying to take up for my father not being there. I was trying to take up for my grandfather's not being there, overcompensating and not necessarily knowing exactly what my place and my position was. So I think I can't speak for everybody, but I think a lot of black men just don't know when they say be a man, what does that mean? Yeah. And what does that mean? That doesn't mean the same thing for this woman. That doesn't mean the same thing for this woman. What is her that? So I think a lot of it is both. It's double dutching. It's like, how do I give myself enough grace while also pushing myself and challenging myself to learn and listen and hear? And like I said, there's not a single same perspective. It's all different. It's all different. We're all figuring it out. I think that's, like I say, it's like, how much grace can we give ourselves? How can we hold ourselves accountable without the guilt and the shame kicking in? Because guilt and shame will do a whole lot. Guilt and shame will freeze you up. Guilt and shame will keep you from actually sitting in a space that actually is safe. You don't know that it's safe because you're so used to, putting on. It's just, I think it's having space to even do this. This is village.
And accountability, like you said, giving yourself that grace and then understanding when it's like, all right, tighten up. All right, it's time to, and then educating yourself. A lot of us, we don't remember to read, right? Y'all remember them posters that they used to say read, and you got your celebrity on there, and you don't see them posters on there.
A simple question. When we're thinking about, I think with the opposite of abuse, when we think about love, and love can be powerful, love can be extremely powerful. What does it mean to love black women? And I want y'all to think about, because you was talking about what did you say? Accountability. Holding ourselves accountable while holding ourselves hostage.
Trying to hold ourselves accountable without holding ourselves.
Talking about parents and all type. So I'm just we can tie all of that shit in. It's not a limited conversation, but just thinking about just first to introduce it into like what does it mean to love black women?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got a perspective about love. One perspective about love. I think that love is uncontrollable. I think it's spontaneous. I think in its rarest form, you cannot contain it. And I think that's the first part. I think
you're on mute, black man.
I want y'all to see all these sissy ass mannerisms. Okay, listen, this is terrible, guys. Look, I'm gonna go back just a few seconds. I want y'all to look at these fucking sissy, feminine ass mannerisms. Look at this. Let's start back. Watch this.
And I think that's the first part. I think it belongs to everybody. And how it's received and how it's received is not up to you. But it's how you give it is up to you. But I think it's first there. Understanding what the power of love really is. Because I think everybody has their perspective of what love is in my household. What love is with my woman.
Right.
As opposed to what does love mean to her. What does that mean to you? I'll tell you what it means to me. You tell me what it means to you, and let's find our way up to middle ground of some sort. I think it's there. It's just trying to understand what that is, because everybody throws that shit around. It's popular, makes a lot of money. It's nice. Everybody wants it. Everybody's fighting for a variation of it.
Right.
It's trying to understand what that is, and I just think that love is not a thing that we can control. It just is. First,
I see this head nod going. I like that. Go ahead. I like it. I like it.
I'm going to combine like a couple of different topics, and it won't be in any chronological order, so just bear with me. One thing that conscious will talk about is pandering, and me as a Black gay man, for me, love shows up as different. There's no sex attached to my care for Black women. So I would say for me as a child, one of the strongest women that were in my life was my grandmother. She was someone who, she loved me with everything. She was someone who made sure that whenever I walk into a room, know that, you know, I'm not trying to sound cocky or nothing, but eyes will be on you. People will be listening to you. Whatever you want to be in your life, you can be, whether that be a president, a CEO, whether you own your own business, whether you be a millionaire, anything you want to do, you can do. And with that, my grandmother was someone, she was a banker. You know, she was someone who, she helped her community. All the people from Arkansas, Little Rock, Arkansas, North Arkansas, she knew all the millionaires, she knew all the business owners. She told people yes, no. She ran her bank, she ran her branch. She had people pull guns out on her trying to rob her. That same woman who left work, she was someone who raised 2 strong sons. My father's a federal investigator. My uncle, my late uncle, he was a manager of the VA for the suicide unit. She was someone who raised strong Black men. And the same Black men that she supported, the same Black man that she fed that was also her husband.
Did he say his grandmother ran a bank?
Yeah. And raised 2 strong Black men.
There was a conversation that we had a while back about women saying that they couldn't get checking accounts and all this other stuff. And this man just said that his grandmother ran a bank. You can't make this shit up. How did it not keep up the lies, man? I did a podcast a while back about the feminist credit union or whatever. And this dude said his grandmother, which would have superseded that, owned the bank. And all these women running around hollering about the reason why we don't listen to men is because we couldn't get checking accounts or a bank account. And this man just stood up here and debunked all of that. I don't think they do any vetting when it comes to guys that's supposed to vet for them, because all they're doing is exposing themselves to the stupidity.
I got an email, Lost. They want me, you, and R Payne and JT to come to the show, and they want us to sit on the other side of them.
Anywhere, any place, anytime.
Absolutely.
You know I'm down for it.
You'll cook them up good. Woo! It'll be a cooking. It'll be a 4th of July barbecue.
Yeah.
And especially with this sword fighter here with no swords. Here we go.
Also be the same people that put their thumb on their motherfucking head. You know? So what I'm trying to say is someone who can be so strong, we also live where we're in a community where traditionally, once a white man took his thumb off of us, a lot of us put our thumb on the woman. So one thing that you talked about as far as like your dad and how you treated your mother, I feel like one privilege it is to not be gay. Not gonna lie, I love being gay. Like, you know, like whether it's not a choice, it's not a choice. But in my life, what I feel is, you know, it was karma for the straight men, and also like to reject what patriarchy and masculinity look like, because I had to choose how I'm going to live my life. So you know how you were talking about how
Pause that. Did y'all hear what he just said?
Gay is karma to the straight man.
Wow.
How?
Dude, you can't make this shit up.
And to the patriarchy.
Yeah.
He needs to explain that. I don't get it.
Wow.
Him being, that's my first time hearing it too. Him being, this is a natural reaction for me right now. Him being gay. What say it again, JT? What did he say? Him being gay is
karma to the patriarchy.
To the patriarchy.
For how Black men treated women. Damn.
How is that karma?
That's what I was just saying. The misandry at this table is unpardonable. It's intolerable. Shout out to my boy Izzy Bears. That's crazy to have a table full of men, so-called, and dropouts. And the misandry is more than we can even bear with women. We don't even get this much misandry with women.
Yep.
This is crazy. It was the dog. It's like this. So this is the reason why we did when we did what we that show that we did, and you just not too long ago rebroadcast it, and it showed the misandry when we did it. it showed the misandry then. Look at this right here. You got this man, and this is the thing. Keep going, because it's about to get there with him and the baby boomer. And watch how the baby boomer go in.
Yep.
This is crazy. Karma to the patriarchy for the way that men have treated women. It's crazy.
That's why he gay. So that's what God did. Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Dad, he was real good with his mom. He was real good with his sisters. Yes, a lot of men, they just live based off of the moral code. You don't even know what your own motherfucking morals are. Right. A lot of you just want to have children because that's what you're taught to. You didn't get no education. You're not saying you have to get education. You have no craft. You have no skill. So all you can do is really just have fun and have children. Nigga, fuck you. And then another thing that I want to say is too, a lot of people, you know, when I said like, you know, having accolades and things like this, a lot of my friends, and especially when moving to Houston, I have such a respect because like in Arkansas, a lot of people had kids by the time that they were my age, I'm 26. Is really just have fun and have children. Nigga, fuck you.
If I'm sitting at that table, I'm gonna say, what you say? That's what I'm gonna say. See, they got a lot of bitch ass niggas at this table. If that's me sitting at that table, I'm gonna ask this gay nigga, what the fuck you say, nigga? I'll slap the fuck out of you, nigga. See, that's what needs to happen. Men need warriors at this fucking table.
Yeah.
I will slap the glasses off this nigga. I will tell him, sit me right by this nigga. So I can be in close proximity to slap the fuck out of him. Ain't no way I'm gonna let a man sit there who sucked dick tell me how to be a man.
That shit is crazy to me. You drop out. That's like a nigga that didn't graduate from high school. Tell a motherfucker that graduated from college that he don't know how to read. That's crazy. You a dropout. You don't even know yourself.
Our pain back, y'all. Our pain. Did you see what this? Did you hear what this nigga said?
I just caught the tail end of it. I missed.
Pause.
Damn, boy, it's
unbelievable.
Let me rewind it. This nigga say he is. Let me see.
A lot of us put our thumb on the woman. Yes. So one thing that you talked about as far as like your dad and how you treated your mother, I feel like one privilege it is to not be gay. Not gonna lie, I love being gay. Like, you know, like whether it's not a choice, it's not a choice, it's not a choice. But in my life, what I feel is, you know, it was karma for the straight men, and also like to reject what patriarchy and masculinity look like, because I had to choose how I'm going to live my life. So you know how you were talking about how your dad, he was real good with his mom, he was real good with.
That nigga him being gay.
Karma for the black man, right?
Yeah, him being gay is karma to the black man and the destruction of the patriarchy.
What he really needs to unpack was that thing where he said the man had his thumb on the black man, and the black man decided to put his thumb on the woman. Where did that come from? Where's any evidence of that or proof of that? Because we ain't never had no problem like that. I think they're just cooking up stuff just to say stuff.
Yep.
You know what I would wonder is what kind of man is dicking him in the ass? How is he treating him? Right? This is he's a tough muffin, right? So he got a boyfriend. How's that motherfucker treating him? I don't know what he's talking about. Is he white?
He finna say nigga. Yeah, because he finna say fuck you to all men. So I'm just trying to figure out the nigga you fucking, is he okay? Is he unique in a way that better than other men?
Hey, Landon Dallas 1984 said, what black patriarchal oppressed black women if Big Mama being the backbone of the community since slavery?
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Man.
Hey, that's a bar. All right, here we go. Now he finna disrespect all these niggas, ain't nobody gonna say nothing.
Yes, a lot of men, they just live based off of the moral code. You don't even know what your own motherfucking morals are. Right. A lot of you just want to have children because that's what you're taught to. You didn't get no education. You're not saying you have to get education. You have no craft. You have no skill. So all you can do is really just have fun and have children. Nigga, fuck you. And then another thing that I want to say is too, a lot of people, you know, when I said like, you know, having accolades and things like this, a lot of my friends, and especially when moving to Houston, I have such a respect because like in Arkansas, a lot of people had kids by the time that they were my age. I'm 26. Majority of my friends, like they're between 29 to 30 to 40, you know, beautiful women, well into the careers, talking 200,000 plus. You know, my allyship to them is supporting them whenever we're out. Like I am a protector. I'm not, there's a big kind of like conversation about like, oh, gay men don't want to be treated as like poodles or whatever. Realistically, I'm 6'2", I'm 200 pounds, 215. Like it's like if a motherfucker step up to my friends, I'm going to defend them. I feel like my presence as a black gay a man is to use my masculinity, me being a man, as to not only allow myself, vertical, promotion within life. I don't know how to coin that the right way, but also bring up my sisters with me. And that can be whether it's education, go and get that education, whether it's in careers, because Black women are the smartest group in America. They're also the most underpaid. If you want that money, ask for it. Whenever you go to the interview, let them know what you want. And the same thing as far as like a job, how you can switch out a job, is no different than a man. And you know how we're talking about like the moral basis of I don't want to lose my track. The moral basis of people not knowing themselves and having babies. A lot of men don't got shit to contribute. If you can't even commit marriage to a motherfucking woman, what makes you think that she wants to commit to having a baby? That 9 to 10 months, that can fuck up that whole baby's life.
Not being supported. Yeah, you can't. In the same way that she was talking about, asking for that promotion and things like that, because that also, when we're when we're seen as having some more control or power over in a work environment, people aren't going to abuse us as much. People aren't going to, supposedly, right? Where are we advocating? You know what I'm saying? In the same way of like not being prepared for fatherhood, where are we advocating for those Black women in the job, in the workplace, and making sure that they are seen in the way that they should be and empowered in the way that they should, in the same way that in fatherhood and outside of fatherhood, when you know that your homie is going to have, is thinking about having kids, when you know that your brother or whoever is thinking about having kids, how are you empowering the mother who could be the mother? And how are you holding your brother or your homie accountable? And what does that even mean?
The same conversation I can say, like, hey, you need to ask for it 150, 200, 175. Be the same conversation, like, like, what's he doing? Right. And it's like, it might be a conversation. I think also with certain conversations, it doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, or whatever, you're still a man. Whenever a woman wants to open up and talk to you about certain things, that's when you want to talk about it. Like, you can't be overbearing, because with patriarchy, with masculinity, it's kind of like you trying to talk about something you want to talk about and shouldn't want to talk about that you exerting your masculinity over somebody. So like, whenever my friends talk about their dating, majority of my friends are introverts. They're real kind of like to themselves. They don't like to talk about their business. When they do open up, that's when I ask, like, hey, like, you have X, Y, and Z. Is he providing you what you need? Or is he just a placeholder until that right man comes? So sometimes it will be different. It just depends, because you got to be the person to say it.
Yeah, I would say too.
You got to go ahead. No, I want to see what you're going to say.
No,
and placeholder might not be the right thing. It might not be the right thing to say, but
I was just talking about, I'm 70 years old. So I come from a whole nother era than any of you Negroes is talking about. And what I've learned, and I'm not saying I'm right, I think everybody is right.
Okay. Now, before we do that, I'm a guy that when I go to the store now, my baby taught me to start asking for the receipt. They say, do you want the receipt? I used to say, no, I'm good. She said, get it. And I'm so glad that I learned that from baby, because I got some receipts. This gay, ball holding, head sucking, gay, Rike Suave looking motherfucker is a liar. And I'm going to show you guys the lie. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to pull this up. We're going to read it together. Oh shit, you can't see it. Let me zoom it in, because I don't want nobody to say I'm lying. Okay. Let's get these receipts up here. I got time tonight. Got the receipts up here. I put in Chat GPT just for the shits and giggles. Can y'all see it?
Yeah.
I said, do Black women make more money than Black men? And are they smarter than Black men? It says here, do Black women make more money than Black men? Let's scroll down and let's see. It says here, according to the data from the U.S. Census Bureau and the Bureau of Labor Statistics, I think those are two credible places. Is that correct? Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
Okay. It says the median annual earnings full-time workers recent years. Black men are making, this is average. The average Black man is making between $45,000 and $48,000, and the Black woman is roughly making $40,000 to $43,000. That's the average. We're not talking about the 1% who make more than that. So when you sit at a table full of gay niggas and swallowers, and you say that Black women make more money than Black men, it's simple to go to Chat GPT and get this information before you speak this shit to a nation of people who are going to try to believe it. Everybody understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. All right. I just want to add that. I just want to put that up there. That when the men are saying shit like that, you can't say that shit, because the shit is not real. It's not.
Numbers don't matter to these guys when they already got an agenda.
Yeah.
But they're being right. You're absolutely right. And the other thing is that when people start spouting out shit for bragging rights, and it is crazy that you got these dudes that saying Black women are the smartest and all this crazy ass shit. No, it's not. It's been proven time after time after time. When it comes down to it, it doesn't really matter, because it ain't doing shit for the community anyway. So this is the craziest part. If you had Black women that were the most educated, why is it that black women's children are the least educated then? How about
Exactly.
that? And they're not the least educated from some real smart motherfuckers. No, they're the least educated from some dumb motherfuckers. I've already proven it myself that these Gen Zs are the dumbest generation ever, and I proved it. They're dumber than them.
Now, can I tell you this? I'll scroll down a little bit. It says research from organizations like the American Psychological Association shows Black women currently outperform Black men in college enrollment.
I mean, they showed up to the doorsteps.
They came and they went and got debt. That's all they did. They ended up going and getting more debt than Black men. Congratulations. You played yourself. Outperformed, and that's crazy how they put that. And enrollment.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of receipts, and even yesterday I was, I wasn't really having as much fun as I thought I was going through a list of all the Black women who fumbled the fucking bag when they had leadership positions.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just person after person, people I just went from just every, they get the position of power. And the one thing I think we underestimate when we talk about women, Black women have a psychotic inferiority complex. They just do. So they're easily manipulated with affirmation, attention. If you tell them what they want to hear, man, you got them. You could put batteries in their back. They go for every little thing. So when they see a group of men talking the way these guys are talking around the table, that's just like music to their ears.
Yeah, it's like Hercules.
I mean, it don't have to be true, and then these guys are a bad representation of men, but it's not a surprise that the whole table is being sponsored by a group of women.
Arpain, you just made a brilliant observation. Here's a situation. When you put Black women in positions of power and leadership, the problem with that is that other people around them don't have the courage to tell them when they're wrong. So when you have a whole group of people around you who are actually being delusional and who are afraid to tell the leadership, hey, you're doing something wrong, they're going to continue to do something wrong, and they're not going to know that they're doing it wrong. And they're going to just keep doing it over and over again because she's God. You know what I mean? They want to see a sister of color in power instead of somebody who's competent. Somebody who knows how to take criticism, somebody who knows how to who knows how to adjust. You know what I mean? So what happens is, I already know for a fact that most people don't like to tell women the truth because A, they're trying to get something out of them, or B, they don't want to hurt their feelings. You know what I mean? It's always something that they're trying to get out of them to keep them from telling the truth. If I just lie to them long enough, I can get what I want out of the deal. Well, how does that help women in the long run? You see what I'm saying? Does it make them more effective leaders, or does it make them look foolish at the end of the day when they fall on their faces because people around them are not telling the truth? I think they're doing women a disservice when they don't. And I think that's the issue. The people that surround them don't give them the support that they need by being honest with them.
Lost in
translation. One of the things about women, though, too, Lost, is, and I heard this from Crimson Cure, but I kind of understood this was dealing with my oldest daughter. Women internalize every goddamn thing. When you talk to them, they internalize it. It's like, you could tell them something and they take it all personal. You got to somehow let them say, I'm telling you something, but I don't want you to take it personally. This might help you better. But they internalize everything. I think men look at the world a little bit different. We could look at the world the way it is. We could have an idea of where we want it to be, but we understand those external things are there for us to navigate around. Women absorb every fucking thing. So when you tell them something, that's why if their hair doesn't look like the industry standard, they internalize that. If they're dark skinned, they internalize that. If you don't have a big hourglass figure, they internalize that because men might be attracted to it, but they won't marry it. But that doesn't matter to the woman because she wants the attention. So they internalize every goddamn thing. I don't know if it's a flaw or if it's just by nature, that needs to be cultivated by men, and it could be corrupted just like anything else in nature if it's not treated right. That's just my little observation.
I want to say this real quick, Mr. Boomer. I'm pretty sure Clifton Powell and you are related because he's about to do something that you do often on these panels. And we're gonna watch it. Here we go.
There's so many levels to this, but most of this was laid on our parents.
Yeah.
My father was born in 1915, and his parents were slaves. Well, his grandparents were slaves. So what I've learned is it's not your mother's fault, it's not your father's fault, it's not your fault. We were born into 450 years of post-slavery PTSD. I am 69, I'll be 70 in March. I've just learned how to love. Our parents didn't know how to love. Their parents didn't know how to love. And if I could say anybody maybe had an edge, it was the women. That's why I celebrate Black women. I live with a psychiatrist, forensics detective, gangster, loving Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer, who's just been patient with me to teach me how to love. But in closing on this, because I don't want to get too deep, I called my buddy, man. I said, I'm fucking up, bro, really bad. I'm fucking up. So I never been monogamous. So I don't fucking know
what age did you become a monogamous?
Today. Let me just say what it is. And we don't talk about this. We don't talk about dopamine being in the pleasure center of the brain like we talked about oxytocin is the hormone. It's called the cuddle hormone. So a lot of times we're just talking in generalities. And that's why I think what you said about counseling, because a counselor is going to get inside of this from a real, not even white people perspective, just from a scientific perspective, unless science is not wrong and the brain is not made with this. So when I hurt my girl, which I've done over and over, and I commend her for even being with me, and I said it in my podcast, and I'm gonna say this and stop. I called one of my partners who's brilliant. He said, when you hurt somebody, where you leave them is where they stay. So I think our parents, our grandparents, our uncles, the people that raised us, those men who treated the women outside the house nice, but then put the thumb on the grandmama and put the thumb on the girlfriend or whoever. They are all, it all comes from out of all of that. And I think that's what makes me excited that we're going to bring the women and the uncles and we need to bring them all in here. But go ahead.
The one thing that I just want to talk about in Luke, make sure I say the name right, this part out. Okay. What Luke brought up was like accountability. Like, yes, we can talk about, what our families did to us, all this, all that. But eventually, and I know white people try and say this and I really don't like that, but eventually comes a point where you have to decide, how do I want to live my life? I haven't talked to my daddy in 6 years. I don't give a fuck about what my family has gone through. I know where I will go. So it's like, you can only say that for so long. Black women are tired. And, kind of like putting onto them like, hey, you didn't do this entirely. Because everybody in here, some people have talked about going to counseling. Have that upon yourself. Stop waiting for a woman to tell you what you need to do. Take that upon yourself. Let me address that real quickly. For me, I didn't know fucking how to love. Can I say one more thing? No, I have to say this. Because another thing that happens is, too, you live your life for so long, and I'm not meaning no disrespect by this. It's all right to say, bro. But when you hit your 60s and your 70s, I want to be right. Okay, but I want to live my life right. I want someone to take care of me and protect me. And that's what a lot of women have issues with. You're living it right the fuck now. As I said, 60s and 70s. Let me say this. You're over-talking. I'm going to fucking over-talk you because you're fucking out. But you're not going to disrespect me. You don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I do. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Oh, I do. I don't know it, nigga. I'm living. You can't tell me what the fuck I'm living, nigga. I'm living it right now. You cannot fix no shit that you don't even know what's happening.
I think there's a misunderstanding.
No, but he's feeling like you can't. I don't listen, bro. Let me stop. This is what it is. Let's get to the truth of this shit. You can't fix no shit unless you meet somebody who is on another level to help you elevate to understand. I'm not indicting anybody. I'm telling you what the shit is. You can't fix some shit that you don't know about, bro. You can't. And then you get there at 69 or 70 and say, I thought I was being loving all this time. That's what our parents have gone through, and that's why we all so fucked up right now.
You asked, how do we love Black women? That's right here. Trust Black women and listen to Black women.
Pause that shit, man. We got to speak on that.
You gotta pause. Hey, first of all, I don't relate to this guy. I'm a great fucking husband, man. You know what I'm saying?
No. I'm talking about as far as snapping on niggas.
Yeah,
as far as snapping on niggas.
Yeah.
No. I was gonna get to that part. I like that part of it.
Yeah.
I like that part.
I don't understand why. You know what? This is the only part I agree with Clifton on. You are gay. You suck dick. You can't tell me.
That's exactly right.
Right. What I went through. And you know what? I hate to say this. I hate to say it. It makes my bowels move to the left 13%. But I agree with Brownsville today.
Oh, no.
What?
Oh, I feel like I'm getting sick.
Oh, yeah. Maybe you didn't say it.
I agree with Brownsville. Shout out to Brownsville. Because Brownsville says, you never know when a person will get a chance to go through their recalibration as a man. You never know when they find themselves. And you never know what trauma they have gone through. And you don't know what Clifton's life could do for another person who's in their 50s, in their late 40s. And you don't know who's listening to him right now saying, damn, he just learned how to love at 70. I got a chance.
Yeah.
And that's something I agree with him around. But
that was what I was saying. And I know I probably went too far, too fast, but that's what I meant. That's why I meant what I meant by when I said he needs to be around guys that can edify him, because he's sitting at a table of cats that don't even know how to sympathize. You know what I'm saying? They don't even understand that, hold on, this is an elder and he's being vulnerable with us. So I'm gonna get this man the room where he can go out there and maybe I can learn some shit from him. We had Miss Andress Punk setback. I don't want to cut you off. And anytime somebody say, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, what's coming right after that? The disrespect. So he had my man set off, but I'm glad that Clifton still was like, I ain't about to rage. The other dude did, the punk, he got up and walked away. But Clifton stayed right there and I'm glad that he did it. I'm like, all right, bro, our boomers is still standing there and still right there for the for the conversation, man.
I want to say this real quick. Kudos for not calling the guy a fag.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, but he's been in Hollywood for so long. He understands. He knows exactly what he said. He called him a nigga, though.
The woman come up there. The woman come up there.
I want to add. Yeah, I want to add this. I want to add this to guys, if I can. The Bible says, "He who findeth a wife findeth a good thing and obtains favor." My baby just sent me this. This is a woman that just sent me this. My baby. She said, baby, black women are on number 3. Overall, black men make more money than black women, but they number 3 amongst women.
Yeah, Asians lead.
Asian women, their income is 60% higher than black women. My baby just sent me this. She just screenshot and sent to me. She's because she helping me. Helpmate here. Helpmate. It says here, Asian American women are making 60% higher than blacks. This reflects on educational levels, education attaining, influenced by many factors: access to quality family income and wealth, immigration patterns, so on and so forth. Asian women are among the highest educated groups on average. So you can't say that women are the highest educated when these Asian women are putting up your ass. No, bitch, you know, higher than us. Asian women are among the highest educated group. So when we say, my baby, thank you so much, say you're welcome so they can hear you. Thank you, man. I appreciate you, baby. She also sent me, it says, she went on to say, do black women out earn their own culture of men, black men? Black men earn more than black women on average in the United States. Here's what the data says in the labor statistics. Black men make about $1,037 a week.
Yeah.
Black women make $900 a week. So y'all don't out earn us, and them Asian women putting foots in your ass. So when that Peter Puffer said that black women are more educated, then let me say this because I don't want this to be misconstrued. I don't want to make it seem like we hate black women. I have a beautiful black woman in here. Hey, right back here, I have a beautiful one. So I have some beautiful black daughters. I'm talking about the ratchet. I'm talking about the women that don't know how to shut the fuck up. I'm talking about the women who have endorsed niggas who have, in JT's term, have dropped out. Women are the biggest investors in niggas who have dropped out instead of niggas who trying to come up.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
They're the biggest investors, and the niggas who will sit in the bed and talk about pillow talk shit. And they talk about what they talk about, the same lipstick they wear and the same thongs and shit they wear. I'm talking about a real nigga who go and work every day and get mud and dirt and oil in his clothes and come home tired every day. And he's sitting at home making it work, and he doing it. We gotta support it. We gotta talk about these men. And as long as y'all talking bad about the hardworking man, we're gonna be on you ratchet bitches' asses. I'm sick of it. The other day, I'm watching a clip from another Peter Puffer over on Tonight's Conversation. I can't stand that nigga. If that nigga was on side of the road, I swear to you, if I had a spare tire, I'd let that nigga stay there. Listen, this nigga, a lady stood up in the audience. I don't know if y'all seen this, and she said, "I have a man, baby. Can you send me that clip?"
Oh, you talk about what she had?
She said, "I have a man who takes care of me."
She had brain surgery.
Can you send me that clip of the girl at Tonight's Conversation who said that she got a man that take care of her, but she need more? Thank you. She said I'm gonna give paraphrase, but y'all got to see it. She said he takes care of me, he takes care of the kids, he pays all the bills. She said, I make more than him, and he still takes care of everything. She said, but that's not enough. I need more.
She's contemplate leaving him.
I saw that.
Are you fucking serious? There's another funky back bitch who's on there 2 weeks ago who said, I had 3 brain surgeries. He wiped my ass, taught me how to walk again, took time off. He took a leave off his job. She said, but I just need him to start taking me on dates. He act like he don't want to be out with me. The man just wiped your ass and cleaned your pussy for 3 months while you after brain surgery, and you talking about it's not enough? Oh, Jesus!
This cat's still trying to work out what the fuck just happened.
These are the dumb bitches that
what did I get myself into? Oh man.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what is really going on, man? I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. I don't understand. We need more. And then now we got these Peter Puffers trying to tell the boomers, and I'm glad Clifton ate his ass. I can't say this about these gay niggas on here. I'm glad that Clifton had spoke up for his culture. You can't tell this man what he done been through. You can't minimize what this man been through. This man said his mother, he's going to go on, we ain't going to watch all of it because we're finna get out of here. But his mother said, he said, talked about his mom. He said his mom committed suicide when he was 4.
Mm-hmm.
His dad, after that, became an addictive alcoholic. He just out of there says dad became a very brutal person. He was raised in the streets from a young age. It fucked his head up.
Yeah.
So he didn't learn the nurturing from his mom. His mom took her life when he was 4. He was raised on the streets. And you expect this man to just have this love and affection and nurturing and cuddle nature and all this fucking shit? No. And today, me and Baby was talking today. We was talking about how back in the day, there was no fucking, when our pain was painting the Titanic, there was no fucking therapy sessions for Black people who experienced trauma. You know what Black people do? Black people internalize trauma, and they pass that trauma, turn it into fear, and pass that shit on to their children. I broke a generational curse, and I can be transparent with you right now. I remember I love my grandfather with everything in me, and talking about him makes me emotional because he passed away. I love that man with everything in me. And I remember going to a tire shop with my grandfather, and my grandfather looked at me and said, son, don't ever look a white man in the face.
Ooh, yeah.
He said when you talk to him, you keep your head down. You think my grandfather learned that? You think my grandfather learned that just to be doing that shit? Or do you think his father before him told him, don't ever look at what the one that was actually seeing people getting hung in the trees? He passed that trauma and that fear down to my grandfather.
Yeah.
I heard my daddy say, hey, watch how you act in front of white folks. I said, God damn. And as I got older, I said, fuck them motherfuckers. I'm going to do what the fuck I want to do. I'm going to say what the fuck I want to say. I don't give a fuck about these white people. I don't care. I'm not going to look. When I go get something and a white man talking to me, I'm looking right in his fucking face. I'm going to break these. I'm not telling my son to bow your head to no fucking white man. I'm not. And I love my grandfather to death, but I ain't following that shit. It's generational curse. That PTSD, he's talking about that post-slave disorder shit, get passed down from one generation to another one, and nobody got help for it, so they kept continuing it on. I realized it, and I said, I'm not doing it. I'm not bowing to no motherfucker for Jesus.
So, I mean, that's a good point that you're making, though. You know, because it's crazy in a backwards kind of way, you know, the fracturing of the Black communities. Some of those old generational curses aren't there to be passed down. But on the flip side, none of the good shit is getting passed down either, like family.
Right.
You know, so, I mean, but, you know, my trauma wasn't like that. It wasn't even trauma. What I knew when I saw my old uncles and my father and my grandfather do, when I saw them hand over their money to their women, I said, I'm never fucking doing that. You know, because, you know, and I don't know why I felt that way when I saw it, because just something wasn't right about that, as far as I'm concerned, because you're telling the woman to make the choices. And once you hand that money over, you don't know what she's doing. Even if she's making the choice of what gets paid and what's not. And nobody had enough money. So she's making the choices of who gets paid this month, and you don't know where your household's at anymore. You know, so I thought that was just a dumb idea from the beginning. And it's not like my wife doesn't know where the money's at, but she has to come through me to know where everything's at, because I handle all that shit. But that's just me. But that's just the one thing that I knew I wasn't going to continue. And I saw so many of my uncles do that, my aunts, my father, and I said, that shit just never make any sense to me. Not if I'm responsible for keeping the house open.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I'm responsible, I have the authority and a responsibility at the same time. There's nothing worse than having responsibility with no authority over it.
Absolutely.
You know? But that's my thing. I mean, it's not the same as what you saw, a Black man, but I was in the North, right? So that might have been a big difference.
Speaking of authority, man, I don't understand why women like to support the gay guys. And I'm gonna tell you what I mean by that. When Clifton stood up, he exercised his masculinity and he made him sit down. Now, a few minutes ago, he just said, fuck you to men who made kids. And Clifton looked like he was about to put the hands on him. And he talked all that tough stuff and how he was 6'2", and all this other stuff, and how he was gonna whoop somebody's ass. And as soon as a man across the table said something to him, what did he do?
Jump up and rage quit.
Got his ass up off the table. You see what I'm saying? My thing is this: you need to question your leadership, ladies, and where your allegiance needs to be. Do you want to be behind somebody who gets up from the table and runs away, or do you want to be behind somebody who stands up for you and stands up for what's right when it's time to stand up to be right? I think that's a question you need to ask yourself.
Yeah. And the thing is that, I can definitely understand where Clifton is coming from, because I've seen multiple sides of this thing, especially with baby boomers growing up. And, you know, I've had uncles, man, that really was struggling. You know, they were struggling out here. They were trying to find the balance of the manhood and things. And they were raised by my grandfather. But the younger generation of boomers, because there was 10 of them. So those last 4, they was catching hell, because times were changing during the times when they started being, you know, teenagers into manhood and stuff. And my grandfather had a time. He talks about it now when he talks about his younger set of kids. And he talks about how more difficult it was to father them. And he had to go through the whole thing with my grandmother, because she started to be more lackadaisy with the younger set. And then you seen how it looked, right? When they grew up, guess who was taking care of them pretty much? The older set. The older set were the ones that were, you know what I'm saying, playing the big brother, big sister. They wasn't playing mama and daddy. They didn't play that shit back then. They'll take care of you as long as they can take care of you. This is when during that time when you did have the crack era and all, but it was before crack. You still got to remember they still had other drugs. They still had alcohol, which always been a problem in every community, right? So when we're looking at what we're seeing now, it's crazy that you would have a Clifton Powell sitting at a table with cats that don't even understand where he comes from. They don't even understand. Think about this. I'm 20 years younger than Clifton. I'm probably, me and you, Lost, we probably about 17 years younger than Clifton. But we're 20-something years older than all of the motherfuckers on the table. They don't understand what we went through. Now imagine him talking to them. It's like them out here listening to this dude speak Mandarin. Instead of them, because this is the whole thing that they were leading with. You gotta listen to understand. You gotta listen to understand women, but when it come down to men that's sitting at the table with you, you have no respect for those men, especially a man that's elder. At least that's why I said they're like 10 years behind in conversation right now. Think about it, Arpay. The motherfuckers, when we first got on here, people was out here, these old random motherfuckers coming out here trying to disrespect you and all that. But the other men were telling them, nah, you can't be doing that. That's the elder, right? You got to watch your mouth. He ain't coming here disrespecting you. And they started to, reprimand these folks. And guess what happened? People started following suit. Look what happened on that table. That's 10 years, a long time ago. These young folks don't even know how to respect elders anymore. They don't even understand what an elder actually is.
I'm trying to figure out where
you guys, man.
where was he coming from?
Oh, you got a super chat too, Black.
Yeah, I was about to get it right now. Yeah. He said, "What's good, panel? What did I miss? Looks like I'll have to catch the replay." $9.99 super chat. Thank you so much, Curtis Moore. I think that JT, we're gonna end it, but I think that JT is gonna do a part 2 to this on Saturday. Am I right?
Yeah.
A part 2 to this on Saturday. And
matter of fact, that's the part I'm gonna go off of. Based off, it's gonna go from the Discord that Clifton and the Sissy, and then we're gonna go from there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate you as always. Lost in translation, my brother. Appreciate you, man. JT, thank you for being here, man. In closing, I want to say this: we have to move the sissy and his sponsors away from us in order for us to see the true us. Because what we're seeing out of these men who are sissies and these women who support them, they're only supporting what they do every day. Delusion.
Yep.
Anytime a man can get up in the morning, look in the mirror and say, "I'm a woman," and a black woman comes behind him and say, "Yeah, girl, you sexy.
You go, sis."
All of them are delusional. And these are the women you want leading. These are the women that you want over households, over children, over the United States of America, ruling the world. Women who can't even tell you what they are. I rest my case. Guys, you have a great, great rest of the night. And if you can't do anything nice for anybody else, do something nice for yourself. All right, we out this day. Peace.